So, afternoon all, third bike out today. It's around about 1:30 in the afternoon, and we're out on this Lexmoto Cypher. There's a story to this one. And let's get out and ride. We've had one test ride, long test ride on Saturday. I finally got back on it today. Take it out of park mode, ready to go. Let's whack it open, and we've got a full 90% charge around about there, going by the bars on the screen. So, we are going to go and have a nice long run, starting with the dual carriageway. So Rev is taking the Cypher down the dual carriageway, because the best thing is, it does 30 miles an hour. And it's quiet, and I can get to talk. Yay! So, what was the story behind this? This one baffled me. It really baffled me, and I know my Cyphers inside out. I'm on the Cypher owners group on Facebook, noddy nod, and been trying to figure out, because obviously all the boys are like, oh, I don't know why it's done that, don't know why it's done that. I've seen battery issues before, but I've never seen what we had. So I normally do my 2 lots test rides, and we put about 13 miles on this bike, just checking it, everything was all good. And it rode absolutely lovely. I did a very long test ride last one because we had to cut the video because I chucked up loads of miles and it was just me sitting there waffling on. He didn't want to hear me waffle too much. But we sent it to the customer. She did about 15 miles on it, and she said, it's making a horrible bang 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 noise, get it back to us, because obviously it has to go to nearest dealer. The one in Oxford couldn't get it in until the 20th of this month to even look at it. So get it back to us. We did chat with the boys over at, I think they're near Aylesbury, RC Roadcraft or something. There's a racing team. And he said, yeah, I know the Cyphers. Get it into us, mate. I will make you a slot on Friday. If you want it Friday, I am away racing for the weekend because they do a lot of bike racing. But he said, I'll get it into me. I'll have a look at it for you. And obviously the customer said, no, bringing it back to you, it's faulty, I want it investigated. So, we got it in, we got it on the ramp, and we spun the bike up. I rode it round the yard, clonk, 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 clonk. This doesn't sound good. It's definitely the back end. Now, when I grabbed hold of the back wheel, it was wobbling. So check the nut, wheel's all tightened up. Okay, so we started investigating, dropped out all the rear spindle, took the caliper off, rear spindle out. As soon as I pulled the back wheel out, the bearings all fell apart. Oh, it had basically crapped its bearings. Don't know why it's done that. And we looked at all the little green marks that Lexmoto put on it at the factory. And watching matey boy in the van behind, because he tried to get round me and beat by the lorry. That's why I ride position 1, 30 miles an hour. But he said, green marks there, all the factory, we'd done all the torques, we'd done 2 lots of bolt checks, everything was all good and torqued up correctly. Belt was nice and tight. And obviously spoke to Lexmoto, I need bearings and I need them ASAP. So they sent the bearings out and we popped the bearings out. When we went to get the bearing out of the hub of the wheel, the actual wheel rim, the inner bearing had welded itself to the aluminium. It had gotten that hot, it obviously eaten the bearing alive and welded the end. Right, I don't just want a bearing kit, I need a complete back wheel assembly. We will get you one out, but it's going to be 2 to 3 days because it was over the weekend. Alright boys, get it out to me ASAP. So, fired the back wheel out, brand new set of bearings, thanks to Paris and all the boys down at Lexmoto, and obviously the customer had phoned them and said, look, I'm not happy. I've only had the bike 2 days. I can understand where the customer's coming from. But obviously, late nights for me, early mornings for me, and we worked on it last week. And it's had a test ride Saturday. Obviously Monday we don't do anything because it is an admin day. No one does anything on a Monday, no mechanics in. So first availability was for me to get out this afternoon. I'm actually out in what I call my catch-up time, where I get time to just do my own thing and catch up with bikes that I'm behind on. So Phil and Bex are manning the office for me. Nice. And while I get out and test ride. But obviously when we went to torque up all the back wheel again, and this has got a rubber V-belt on it. So basically like you'd have on a twist and go scooter, it's got a big old belt like a Harley-Davidson, the big old rubber drive belt on it. To check a drive belt, you should tighten it up so it's nice and tight, and then if you can twist the belt vertically, that's about enough. You shouldn't be able to twist it all the way around, and if it's too tight, you won't be able to twist it to about halfway. So that's the easiest way to check your belt. Get hold of the bottom of the belt, see if you can twist it so it's vertical. If it's about there and it feels tension, that is about the right tension you should put on the belt. When I looked at my markers on the back wheel, I had 6. The green marks were set for 9. So whoever had done it at the factory had seriously over-torqued the back wheel, stretched the belt. Obviously it's pulling on the spindle like a mad thing, and obviously the weight of that spindle pressing back onto the wheel had eaten the bearings, so over-torqued on the back wheel. So phone call to Lexmoto, we will put this into factory and make sure that obviously whoever done that, because they will have a record of who built what bike and what time, we are going to have a word with that person and even more training given, or there is something that we need to do at factory to stop this happening again. It has only happened, and obviously Paris said to me, he said out of nearly 1,000 Cyphers, we've only had this 3 times, which isn't bad, but 3 times is still too many for me. It shouldn't happen at all. Not if you're doing your QC checks and your bolt checks and everything, but obviously when we do QC checks, you don't touch the back end because these come pre-built from the factory. So that be the reason why. We have ramped up so many miles on this thing, and it's lovely and quiet now. It's not got the grind. This thing is so quiet. The only thing is, obviously, being a quiet bike, you have to be more aware. Has the car driver seen you? Because he's not going to hear an exhaust note. And I know to go because the bus is there. Right, straight up to 30. I'm going to leave the visor up for a minute, get a bit of air on my face. I need some wind therapy today after what's gone on. But the Cypher is riding absolutely fine. The back end, I can feel the wheel and the contact to the road with the tyre through basically my bum cheeks, because it's quite hard to see on one of these. But there is absolutely no vibration, no grinding, no rattling at all off of them bearings, and there shouldn't be, because I replaced all the back end myself. So all good. Nice long test ride done. I'm going to go round the block one more time, get more miles on it, because I'd like to ride this at least 15-20 miles to make sure everything is good, and then we can phone the customer, come pick your bike up. Hopefully no more issues. But obviously the reason that had cracked its bearings is because the spindle was too over tight and pushing at the bearing. It should run free. And the reason being, we can actually know that now, is because we can actually freewheel the bike. When it basically crapped itself, when we brought it in, it was very hard to push on the back end. Very tight. Now these are all turning right, so I'm not going to filter down the outside and become a squisho. Come on, cars. The best thing is you can just let the bike do its own thing and roll. The only thing that is missing on one of these is a regen. Now the Impulse used to do it, and ooh, wet patch. Don't like that in the middle of the road. Ugh, that looks oily. But the Impulse, and I believe the Elex, used to have regen on them. The Cypher doesn't, but the best thing about the Cypher is obviously you can de-restrict it. Come on, cars, let's roll. One of our boys. Thought I recognised the van. It's amazing when you start riding around Bletchley, everybody knows who you are. And we had a Google review this week. Love it. We get loads and loads of Google reviews. First class service, bought a Medina, come in for my service, got to say, everybody's lovely, made me a cup of tea. I always make everyone a cup of tea or a coffee. And first class service, definitely be back. And then someone's put obviously a Google review. I know who it is. Thanks, Julian. Great motorcycle shop, absolutely love it, and they've got a great motovlogger by the name of Revbomb that does their reviews. So I'm like, thanks mate, yeah, great. It's amazing the amount of people that now phone up for bikes and go, oh, I've seen Revbomb on YouTube doing a ride on one of these bikes. That's what I do. Every customer gets a ride test. You know that the ride test is going to be checked. It's going to be, if I find a problem, I'm going to put it on the ride test. I haven't done that. I haven't had a problem on a bike for ages where I've actually recorded the problem and then gone back to the workshop and rectified the problem and taken the bike out again. I haven't had that because if you're doing your bolt checks and your QCs right, normally everything is absolutely good. Is anybody going to go, right, you know, you're all just going to sit there, oh, let's just go up the curb in your Mercedes and just park on the double yellows. Well done. But this one is riding lovely. It's all good. Happy days. Back to the garage we go. I might get to actually have my first cup of coffee for the day. I haven't had one yet since about 12 o'clock. So every time I go to have a cup of coffee, I keep getting made cups of coffee. Your coffee's on the side. By the time I go to drink it, it's cold. Because I'm just literally, I'm back to back. I'm stepping off of one bike, getting onto another, or stepping off another bike and getting onto an MOT. I have 2 o'clock to go, and the first one rolls in at 2, and then I'm every half an hour to 5 o'clock tonight on bike MOTs. So I have a very busy afternoon. Just literally bike MOT, bike MOT, bike MOT. Where are we going? Come on. Right, we're back to the garage anyway, so job is done. Happy days. Is he just going to park there, or is he just waiting for the car to go? The amount of people that just park down here on double yellows, absolutely ridiculous. It's even worse when you get up towards the garages, because it's like, oh, just park up here and pop in for my service. Yeah, numpties. And you're just going to go there with no indicator. What do you expect from a BMW? Right. Anyway, back to the garage, as I was saying. Ride test complete. Bike is all good. Handle's lovely. So, next test ride up, once I've done all my MOTs, is tonight. I'll try and see you on the live stream Wednesday night with Peaky, depending on what frame of mind I am in. But until the next one, guys, be well. Ride safe, and from RB, as always, it's a big goodbye from me.